Hi, this is Natalie Lander, voice of Kinsey, Tara Branford, Stargirl, and many others. You are listening to a W2M Net podcast. You can visit W2Mnet.com for other podcasts about entertainment, video games, sports, and wrestling. You are listening to Video Games to the Max.
Hello and welcome to a special edition of Video Games to the Max emergency episode as the Sony event gave us what was promised with the PS5 price that Mark and I pretty much talked about on the last show, and everybody pretty much nailed at this point after Microsoft had unveiled their thing in a leak. And it looked pretty obvious that that's not what they were going with, but it's what they did decide to go with. The $499 for a PS5 with the disc, and the PS5 without the disc is $399. So $100 less than the disc version. And here to talk about it with me is, as always, Mr. Marc Morrison.
Howdy.
And Jens Dietrich is back.
Hi, Sean. Good to be here.
Yeah, I tried to get Randy, but he's doing his... He's part of our football show on the W2M Network, the Kickoff, and they record on Wednesday nights, so he is occupied. So
likely story.
He is doing it, but yes. Yeah. So, guys, I mean, general impressions. There was an actual event, very much like the first PS5 showcase before they showed a picture with the prices at the end. And then the release date, which is 2 days after the Series X and S release on November 12th. Mark technically already has a pre-ordered PS5 disc version that he got from the Walmart website. Let's see how long that lasts. And
so did Jens.
Oh, Jens got it as well. Okay.
Yep, I got my pre-order.
Oh yeah,
at least so far.
Randy tried from Walmart, but they canceled his. So
I haven't got my cancellation email yet, so I'm crossing my fingers. I'm just hoping that Walmart won't screw me over by basically like canceling it in a day. And
to be fair, I think Jeff Keighley did come out and say there are several stores that have stock available today, so it could show up today. Now Sony's just been, they didn't really say tomorrow. They left it actually up to Jeff Keighley to tell people, well, it might show up tomorrow. It wasn't really ever Sony that goes, yeah, they're going to be available on this day at this time. And I think that wasn't really, I think that's not great on a company's part.
They're just, it feels like they're winging it.
I mean, I know that they know people are going to buy it, so like they don't need to do that, but it's just like, it's still kind of shitty to the consumer. Like, it's like, you could still like give a date and say, hey, you might want to get ready like the night before.
No, I'm telling you, this is completely bungled. 2 weeks ago, I think, maybe a week ago, my memory's not good for time frames, but at some point, fairly recently, last month, I received an email from Sony.
Yeah, they sent out their like pre-order.
Yeah, that's
with us email.
Give us your email. No, it was not email. They were asking for your PSN ID for some reason. Which
I think if I did like test or see how long you've been
to make sure, and also to make sure that you actually have a.
It's
to
like
give a little bit of to people that actually have PS4s right now.
It very much felt like we're going to check your trophies and see if you're worthy.
Yeah,
and then if you're worthy, maybe we'll send you an email that'll give you a heads up on you being able to buy this thing or pre-order it before other people. And that fuck all happened with that. Walmart
that means nothing.
And then everybody else went, here it is. Like
I think like an hour ago, Sony finally sent out emails like, hey, if you want to pre-order with us, you can.
Well, I just don't know. The fact that
Amazon's the only one that actually like obeyed, right? And didn't release everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is weird. I guess they just felt, once Walmart did it, I guess everybody else felt that they could get away with it too.
Well, of course, yeah. Once the biggest retailer does it, I mean, what are they going to do the other ones?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's definitely crazy.
It feels to me like Sony had a rollout that they were trying, like kind of a slow rollout that they were going to try and do to make sure that, there wasn't too much disappointment in regards to pre-orders. Kind of like, do phases or something. That's how, the fact that they did a exclusive email of like, hey, you might be able to get the first batch or something seemed like they figured they didn't have enough and they had to kind of gauge interest in a way. I don't know if that makes sense. It seemed like they were doing something. It seemed like they had a plan, and then this plan was stomped on today.
Especially after the news this week, which, Sony rebutted, but as we're seeing already with some of the other stuff that was announced today, I don't know if it's Sony's just rebutting to try to protect themselves, or if it's actually true about the whole they had to cut 4 million units or whatever because of the chip overclocking or whatever, overheating when it overclocks. We'll see if that actually happens, but I will say it happened with this. Yeah, they had to cut a certain amount of units because of something happening in production, but then Sony came out and refuted it. It was a Bloomberg report.
Okay, so this is a production error, not like an inherent problem with the chip.
No, yeah, it was just like a production error. So they had apparently cut the amount of units that they were going to make because of it or something.
This is not the Xbox 360.
No, it's not that 360.
Well, at least not yet.
Yeah, we don't. Well, yeah, but to be fair, I think this is a total bungle of a rollout of a pre-order. We'll see how it goes with Microsoft on the 22nd, if that goes any better. I will say that as a person that, obviously it's a little bit different because with the Switch you didn't know what you had. So there's a lot of people that maybe didn't go nuts trying to get it when it first came out. I will say that there was more pre-orders available as you get closer to the thing launching. So there's always that chance that certain retailers get some stock they didn't know they had, or they get some extra stock later down the line as we get closer to November. So you always need to kind of make sure and check.
Oh, I'm sure there's going to be like little pre-order windows that are going to start appearing every couple of days.
Does that. Yeah.
I mean, the Switch was so unknown where I live that I was able to walk in the day it came out and stand there like an hour before it came out, and then when it hit 12, buy one. But that's not going to happen with the PS5 and Xbox Series thing.
I was chasing those kind of like limited pre-order windows when I was trying to get the SNES Mini, and I did not manage it at the time. I mean, I got it later when they kind of made more.
Yeah.
But initially, when it completely sold out, there was like 3 or 4 times it was like, oh, Walmart has it for 2 seconds and it's gone. And it was super annoying. So I don't
a lot of
envy the
Walmarts
people.
do not stay open anymore for 24 hours, so you can't even do the thing I did either.
Sleep in the parking lot, man. Come on.
Right. Yeah. Oh, we used to do it all the time. You're talking about just going there like at midnight?
Yeah.
And just waiting for 12:01 to come around. It's like, you can give it to me now, right?
But, we'll see. I mean, we'll see how this goes. Obviously, the hype for the PS5, even if they would have said $499 and $450, I think would still be the same. I think you'd still be getting all these pre-orders selling out and everything. It always does for the beginning.
Do you think that the digital version would be selling out the way it is if it was $450?
Yeah, it's still $50. And there's still a ton of people that don't need the disc.
Sure, I could see $100 for a drive, but like $50 for a drive.
Well,
it just seems weird because it's like, you're going to tell me that the only thing that's worth $100 less is a drive? Like,
I mean, it is a 4K drive. It basically, you don't need a 4K player. My Sony 4K player is a disaster. It's buggy as hell. So this might actually replace it entirely. Yeah, it's bad. So I don't know.
I guess it is true because it is like if you try to buy a 4K player as opposed to a Blu-ray player, there's usually like an $80 difference, anywhere from $80 to $100. So I guess,
Oh, it's right. Blu-ray players have gotten cheap. Like, you can get a really nice Blu-ray player for like $50-$60 now.
Yeah.
But yeah, my Sony 4K player was, I think, $300 when I bought it.
Well, I was saying earlier,
$100 is a value in my mind for that drive. But I know other people don't agree. Sorry, Mark?
I was going to say the rumors are that the GameStop already has kind of their allotments, and like the digital version, they're getting like 10 disc ones and like 2 or 3 digital ones.
Oh, so there's much lower stock for them.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's weird.
It's compared to like the 20 gigabyte PS3, like when that came out, along with the 60 gigabyte one at launch. It's like.
So the weird thing is, has there been any announcement?
Sony expects more people to buy the disc version.
Has there been any announcement of what the spec? If there's any spec difference?
No, there's not. There's not. They said it was different.
The disc one or the discless one. I mean, no drive. It's lighter by like at least like a pound, I think, or like a few grand. It uses like a slightly less power, and that's about it.
Wow.
Yeah, I bet that's all because you don't have a drive they have to boot in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy to me. I guess if they would have said something, if there was, I guess people are just assuming that these are functionally the same.
No, they are.
And
Well,
then
they
also
are.
Sony underestimated the demand for digital, I guess.
Well, I think it's also, we got to think about it in their own country. There's probably a way more demand for the disc version, so they're looking at it. And it's crazy to me too, right? That like the US is getting priority along with some other countries as like for a whole week before. And then you're going out to Europe and everything else. So, I mean, that's...
Yeah, the fact that it's not launching in Japan alongside USA is kind of crazy.
Yeah,
Europe,
that is.
we're getting it first?
Yeah, by a week.
Before Japan?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's crazy.
That's got to feel like a slight to some people.
I mean, maybe, but I mean, think about where the majority of game playing is done at this point. Like, America is one.
Well, at least console gaming.
But Japan's a very important console gaming market.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I still wonder if the Switch was locked to the TV, if it would sell as much in Japan as it has. I think it helps a lot that it's portable.
Oh, sure. But it's a huge seller everywhere, so...
Yeah.
I think that's not just them in terms of... But yeah, portable games obviously do huge over there, so they always have.
But certainly, I mean, let's discuss the event itself that got everyone excited. Going into the release of the PS5, that everybody thought they'd have a day to kind of catch their breath and then, okay, let's get ready. Turns out they didn't, but yeah, so general impressions, I guess, compared to the previous one, right? Did you like this one better? Did you think that, you kind of got you got a lot more about what's coming to the system, or just kind of felt,
they did less of that stupid building the console crap, so that was good.
Yeah.
I still think like Sony needs like a pitch man or like a host for that thing. Like it doesn't need to talk for a lot of time, but just, here's the next game.
No, I like the trailer. I think that's a good way of getting people excited. Just content. Give me the content. I don't need somebody to hype it up for me.
I wasn't saying hype it up. I just meant
like the Nintendo that kind of goes in between sometimes and goes, here's the next whatever, and then they
some omniscient voice. Or I mean, it'd be nice if it was like if they hired Adam Boyce back, or someone with some personality. But I mean, yeah, just do something instead of having just some PlayStation controller icons and the.
Can't we just get Will Wheaton or Felicia Day or something on stage?
What stage?
That's true. What stage?
Which Joel McHale up to these
All right,
days.
put him in front of a green screen or whatever.
Yeah.
That's
Just
probably
Joel
why
McHale
it's a lot less editing they have to do if you don't have a person standing there talking. So, plus, I mean, sure, those things when you have a host is kind of okay, but you end up talking about the games anyway, and the host becomes very tertiary thing.
And the hosts are only memorable if it's something ridiculous, like Mr. Caffeine or something.
Yeah.
That's when you remember the host, or like the Ravi Drums guy.
Yeah, or when Aisha Tyler would just say something ridiculous.
Aisha Tyler, yep. And Reggie, of course, because Reggie's a walking meme.
Yeah.
So Reggie was always beloved.
It'd be funny if Sony hired Reggie.
That would be amusing. He still basks in the adoration of people wherever he goes. It's kind of amazing. It's like he was just the PR man.
Oh yeah,
he was like president of Nintendo, wasn't he? I mean,
he was for the U.S. Nintendo America. Yeah,
I stand corrected.
Yeah,
I always just saw him as the face.
That's because he's a beautiful man.
That's true.
Let's get into actually first of all, they revealed a game that is going to be on PS5, but it's the only one not showing any PS5 footage because it's from PC footage that now Sony has made Square remove from the trailer and actually act like it never happened. Which is hilarious.
Not coming to PC at all.
It's like, come on. Yes, it is. It's just they don't want to mention it because someone may not decide to buy a PS5 because it might come to PC. Who knows when, because they can still do that exclusivity thing where it comes out for a year on PS5 and then it comes out a year later on PC like they did with the remake. So
the same handful of 8chaners who complained about Horizon Zero Dawn coming to PC would have thrown a fit. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I guess, but we are seeing people throw a fit about something else that we'll talk about here in a little bit.
Okay.
But Yeah, so they surprised. This is the game that everybody was like, okay, they need to show this when they did the first one, right? It's like, this is the game that's gonna like get you hyped until no end, and it's Final Fantasy XVI. It finally gets shown on here. It's the first game. It's the first Final Fantasy I've seen in a while where they're not like trying to wow you with graphics. It didn't feel like this is like out of the crazy, graphical field.
It felt like Nomura didn't have a hand in it because there's no like overtly weird hair characters, and then it's not like future sci-fi bullshit.
It felt more like it had the vibe of 12 with like the European accents and.
Don't get me wrong. At a certain point, it's gonna have weird futuristic bullshit in it, but the trailer didn't show any, at least yet.
Well, we do see cat girls, so I'm in.
Maybe he's not involved in it because, he's still having to do the remake. So,
yeah,
like,
it's an ongoing concern, right? I mean, that's pretty much in non-stop development.
Maybe this is a different studio.
Well, it looks like it's spinning off the MMO.
Yeah, it definitely does have some of that. Yeah.
So I don't know if it's set in the same world or what. I never played that one because it's an MMO.
The guy who's doing it is Naoki Ishida. He did 14 also. So
gotcha. Yeah. It's always
that's why it had the Evilise look to it too.
So as long as this is not an MMO, I will absolutely play it.
I would think that they would be smart enough not to do an MMO when they're already making bank off of 14. You don't need to.
You don't think this might be? I mean, it could be 14 too, just from its style, from its appearance. But
it definitely had an action orient to it, or maybe it's using the same system as Remake. I don't know. You obviously couldn't tell there was no kind of any overlay or HUD or anything, but I thought it looked cool. I mean, you saw some Bahamut in there. You saw a gray chocobo.
You saw Ifrit.
Yeah, Ifrit. So, I don't know. You got your Final Fantasy.
It actually looked really good to me. Like, I'm typically not the biggest Final Fantasy fan, so having it go back to like a more, not medieval, but at least a more like natural looking setting looked really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It definitely did have more of a medieval. It's less of that realistic setting.
I guess
we saw in 15.
Final Fantasy IX is also a reference point, I guess, with that.
Yeah.
So if it's something along those lines, I always enjoyed the purely fantasy.
Now just do make Vagrant Story 2, please.
That'd be good.
I mean, I said I wasn't really hyped for anything with Next Gen, and then this happened, and I was like, oh, okay. Now I'm good. Now I definitely have something to look forward to. The thing is, this will probably come out in like 2025 or something. So.
No, I actually look fairly long, or in development. Like I'd say 2021.
You think so? Yeah. Really? You think it's 2021?
Yeah. I think it'll come out quicker than 7 Remake Part 2.
Wow.
Yeah, probably. It was not like with 15 when you saw that teaser and you knew that it was still years.
Oh, like, well, they definitely have learned from then. That'd be amazing if you get Horizon Forbidden West, Final Fantasy 16, and what they showed at the end, the God of War 2, all in 2021. That's absolutely amazing.
That's quite a year.
Also shown is Spider-Man Miles Morales, which you got to see a little bit of a Miles walking around, doing the web slinging, doing all. You got to see a little bit of everything with Spider-Man this time around. This game's also coming to PS4, and also it's going to cost $50 as opposed to the other Sony branded games that will cost $70 along with the controller. That's going to be $70 if you want to buy a new controller. So that's, get ready everybody. If you didn't think that, you thought that was an isolated case, we will be getting $70 games for, next gen. And yeah, I thought Miles Morales looked good. This is the other little thing that people were arguing about that we'll get into here also because, it was also revealed that Horizon Forbidden West will also be coming to PS4. So then people started the whole, well, what Sony said they weren't doing cross-gen. And,
who cares? Like,
it's a couple of games.
Well, even if it turns out that there's more games that are for PS4, it's not bad. It's good for people. Not everybody can buy a PS5 at launch. I'm not going to. I'm glad I can play those games.
Yeah, it's one of those things to ease the transition into the next generation. It's fine. It happens every gen.
Yeah, remember like Just Cause 1 when the original Xbox and 360? Or done.
There's always that crossover.
And what do you think sports games are? It's not going to be.
Well, sports games are different. You're not. Most people are not buying their system for the sports game.
I don't understand these. There's people who just hinge everything on the exclusives in a really weird and unhealthy way. Where if the game is not truly exclusive to the one thing that they justified buying for it, they freak out about it, and I don't get it. I guess it's just so they feel like, hey, I feel validated in these $500 or $400 I just spent. But there are all sorts of
I think
there are all sorts
of
things you're going to be playing on these systems.
Yeah, exactly. But I think what matters is that, which is the opposite for Microsoft, right? When Microsoft has come out and said these things are going to be cross-gen, the problem is that a lot of these games that they show don't look even the way that these. Now, granted, I don't think that these PS5 games look like freaking, oh my god, like amazing either. But like the PS5 games really give you a feel of like, okay, this really feels like something that could be next gen. Like I can't wait to be able to see what it's really going to look like, all that stuff. A lot of the Xbox stuff doesn't. So that's where a lot of the hate for the cross-gen stuff comes in, of like, oh my god, having to make for the Xbox One is killing it. That's why it looks bad. Instead of realizing maybe it's not because it has to be made for Xbox One, maybe it's because there's a different mindset with these games as opposed to what Sony's doing. I don't know, but I thought Miles Morales looks great. Whether it's going to be on PS4 or not doesn't matter because it looks great with what they're showing.
I mean, the Spider-Man on PS4, it was a little janky in spots, especially if you really got going like web swinging, and this didn't have any of that. So
no, I definitely didn't. So the Ultimate Edition costs $20 more. That includes like the remaster of
original Spider-Man, which
right? Yeah.
I mean, that's the one I'll probably get because I really like that game. I don't care, I'll play through it again.
Oh, definitely.
Sure.
If I'm gonna get that, that's the one I want to get to. And they showed off the Harry Potter RPG, Hogwarts Legacy.
I got a real bully vibe out of that game.
Yep.
I don't know why. I mean,
well, because it's a school setting and you're going to class.
Yeah, like I hope like the actual classroom aspect is like important to the game.
Oh, well, you want the bully style. We've got 10 different kinds of mini games for your various classroom activities.
Or like, maybe not that, but like you have to go to a class every day. Or
what if you could answer trivia questions about Harry Potter the way you do in Persona games?
It'd be great.
About Japanese history and art and whatnot.
How much does J.K. Rowling hate anyone who isn't her?
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, that's the thing that's hard not to talk about with this, right? Like, this... A lot of people are trying to justify, like, if I'm endorsing this, or, is my money going to J.K. Rowling? If it's not, I'm okay with it, kind of thing.
Oh, I guess Amazon has their pre-order up right now, finally.
Oh, thinking about it.
Well, digital already sold out, so...
well, never mind then. I'm not paying the extra for... I don't need the disc. So
I thought it looked really good though. Like I like the music in that film series quite a bit. I don't know if you do Jens as well.
I do too. Yeah, it's really good.
But it didn't look like you were playing like a set character. Like it looked like more of a created character.
No, that's what it's telling you. Is you're leaving a legacy. It's your own character. But
you're not playing like the jackass most unfortunate or the spin-off Harry Potter series or anything.
Right? No. Are you talking about Newt? I don't mind Newt.
Yeah. I'm just curious, like, what is the magical equivalent of the grappling hook? Is it just magical grappling hook, or?
Well, technically, you could just pull them to you, right? With the wand, you could just do a spell and.
Well, I meant like the whole like grappling to the ground thing that Rico does in Just Cause.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely excited to see what else they're gonna show. What features you're gonna be able to. What are you doing in this Harry Potter game? Is it open? Like, do you have a bunch of side quests to do, or is it,
It looked open. Like, it'd be interesting, like, if you, pick your, school, well, not school, but pick your dorm, whatever what they're called, class.
Yeah.
Them having to kind of redo, like, the whole entire, like, you're not going to be hanging out with Snape because, he's not born yet. Like,
right.
Having to come up with, like, whole new teachers and, like, a, headmaster and all that stuff will be really interesting. It could be creative. Like, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a cool world to set an RPG in, for sure. I'm surprised it hasn't happened before. The old Harry Potter kind of action platformers were actually pretty good that EA used to make.
What about that Harry Potter Gears of War game?
Oh, I did not play that one. Wasn't that like part like motion control? Or am I
they made
thinking
one,
something else?
that was a later one, but they made one that was big, that was really like Gears of War, like, a cover shooter.
Yeah, I didn't play that.
Yeah.
That was really funny, actually.
But yeah, RPG is a good thing for it, and it's Avalanche. So
They're hit or miss, but most of the time they hit reasonably okay.
Yeah. I mean, this game's also cross-gen and also not. It's also going to be on the Xbox side of things as well. So if you're not, go ahead.
I just think about their that Mad Max game, and like that was a neat idea, but no.
Well, it was just too long. It was too much content stretched over too much space. And
that was at the time where you couldn't. If it would have been more of understanding that, hey, you can just make a game that's 10 hours or 15, 10 to 20 hours.
Yeah, we say that, but then like the last couple of games I completed were all 40 to 60 hours.
Yeah, Ubisoft hasn't learned that lesson yet at all, has it?
No. Well, no, but that's Ubisoft. That's what they do. They want all their games to have a long tail, so you keep playing them, and then they can just add content to it. They like to do that. So
yeah.
Call of Duty showed off the campaign, and also you get to, if you have a PS4, starting on Friday, you can download the multiplayer for free and play an alpha of it for the weekend. So there's that. I thought it looked really good, what you did see of the single player. I'm glad it has a single player again, because that's what I like out of the Call of Duty series, but yeah, it's
didn't
Call
the
of
last
Duty.
one also?
Well, the last Black Ops did not.
Oh, right. I mean, I just meant like Modern Warfare, the remaster, or whatever the hell they did. That one did also. Yeah. But yeah, that's why I didn't play Black Ops 3. Or Black Ops 4, sorry.
Yep. They showed off, and this is when we started getting back into stuff we'd already seen. Resident Evil Village, Resident Evil 8, coming out 2021. I like the trailer. It looks really cool. The witch looked crazy. We got to see Deathloop again. Longer trailer for Deathloop. That still looks good. It's been delayed now, but.
Well, Jens is neutral on that.
That game looks positively Sisyphean. Like, it just feels like, hey, do you like killing the same guys over and over? Well, you get to kill the same guys every day until you can figure out how to escape the horrible curse that is playing this game.
Well,
so it's like a
roguelike, but shooting.
Yeah, and it does seem like a repeat this content over and over. At least that's the pitch, right? If that's not what the game is.
Well, no, I think
you've got different strategies you have to figure out to get through, though.
I think there are different levels also, because, what they showed in this trailer was pretty different from what they showed in other trailers. Like, I think it's like, it'll be more like, you can kill the guy, and then like, hey, do you want to repeat this, yes or no? And if you select yes, then maybe you like do it in a different way.
Okay, so that's just Hitman. That just sounds.
And
like
I
Hitman.
wonder if they will ever make the woman a playable character, or if that's just a rival. Or
no, I thought it was like you took control of both.
When this trailer started, I thought it was No One Lives Forever 3.
That's the thing. That's what I was talking with Jens before. It's like it looks and sounds like a Nulf game, but without the personality, and that kind of bums me out.
There's a lot of Dishonored vibe as well in there.
Well, yeah, because now you're like blinking and teleporting around. It's like, what happened? Like,
I think this is going to be great for people who love games like Hitman and who want to do a scenario and a bunch, who want to like experiment and try different ways of doing it and play things over and over again. It seems like that loop is built into the gameplay progression. Mm-hmm. To me, it sounds like death to me. So I think it'll just suck the soul right out of me. In the same way that a lot of grindy game, this is why I don't play roguelikes. So,
well, Devil May Cry 5 is getting a special edition, which is going to be a launch game.
That trailer had me laughing my ass off with the song.
Oh, it was good.
It was so corny, but this is perfect.
Was that Avenged Sevenfold or similar?
I'll just say yes.
Okay. Well,
and then, of course, Demon Souls got shown off as well. Jens's thing he's looking forward to a lot.
I will mend the world.
This is another thing that on the trailer it said coming to PC and other consoles, and then all of a sudden Sony had to come in and say it was a human error. I still think that that's eventually going to show up on PC, if not on PS4 at some point. They're just going to wait. I don't know. I just feel like they're doing a little bit of damage control because they know they don't have a ton of games like for launch, but
they have more exclusives than like the Xbox, I think, don't they?
No, they have exclusives. I think they just want to make sure because again, there's those people that are nuts about. Well, if see how crazy people are now. All I saw after that, and this is while I'm at work. I'm scrolling through my feed, and I pretty much follow everybody that's in games media, and I follow a bunch of streamers. I follow all kinds of people. So almost everyone that I saw was whacking Sony for not only is Spider-Man coming to PS4, but Horizon and possibly Demon's Souls as well, and it's like, okay, right? Like, it's okay to have PS4 games. Like, I know, now I get it. They were doing it mostly because people whacked Microsoft for doing it, but my whole point of this is like, it's not bad to say these games are also going to be available on PS4. Granted, that also means that they work automatically so you don't have to buy them for PS5, which I think that's what Sony is trying to avoid. I think they want people to buy as many games as they possibly can buy with their PS5, so they're trying to simmer down the message about any of these games coming to PS4 unless it gets leaked and they can't avoid it. But they're really trying to make it to where you get excited about all these games coming to PS5 and you buy them for PS5. Because there's no more buying twice. You're going to get the upgrade. So it's not like before where last gen, you didn't get the upgrade, so you would have had to buy them twice. You know?
No, last gen you did. I mean, certain games did.
I think some games you get the upgrade and some you don't, right?
Like AC, one of the AC games you could. Mm-hmm. I think Battlefield you could, and like one or two other ones.
Yeah, well, there was a few back then, but they're way more. It's maybe like half now.
Yeah, I think it's all of them. Like, I think Devil May Cry is the only one we really see in like a special edition, and that doesn't mean that your Devil May Cry regular won't work.
Well, that's because like they're adding like a bunch of they're adding in Virgil, and that looks pretty substantial. So
I was wondering if my digital copy on Xbox was going to get upgraded for that, but it sounds like it's not, huh?
No, it's still going to get upgraded. It's just you'll have to buy the Virgil content, I'm sure. Whatever.
Oh, that's fine. It'll just be DLC. Yeah. That's fine. Well, I've completely zoned out during that entire thing about what all these streamers are saying, Sean. I'm sorry. The only thing that matters to me, like that trailer had me at let strength be granted so the world might be mended. Like, that's all I need to know.
And
so
I thought it looked better than the first trailer they showed. I thought it looked a lot better.
Well, I mean, it had more set, like, it was in the daylight, so, or parts of it were, so that looked nice, except when he got in that building and it turned completely
people
dark.
Complained with the first trailer that it was too bright, and there were daylight scenes. This actually, in addition to daylight scenes, also had a lot more of the dungeon running stuff, and maybe I'm misremembering the old game, but it did look like my memory of what Demon's Souls looked like, so I don't see what there is to complain about some kind of art style change. I mean, maybe the lighting system's different. I think that was the main thing with Shadow of the Colossus, right? That the lighting system was slightly different in the PS2 version.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, it looks really nice.
Well, speaking of some of these older games, you'll be able to play them for free on the PS5 when it launches, because there's a PlayStation Plus collection with a ton of games. Now, granted, most of them are...
Those are all the games we all already have because they've been on PS Plus at some point and we just grabbed them. So
and
this to me
the most recent one's Days Gone, I think, right?
Yeah, but we also got that on PS Plus at some point, right?
No, but there's a lot of people that... I think that
I don't think Days Gone hasn't been on PS Plus yet.
Yes,
it hasn't been?
Yes, it has been.
No. Okay.
I do remember it being on a PS Plus at one point.
Yeah.
But, like, I think this is more of a, hey, if you were an Xbox gamer this entire generation and you want to come over...
It's for people who missed out.
Then there's all these great games. I mean, we're talking about, say what you want about Days Gone and, like, maybe Batman Arkham Knight, but for the majority of it, you're talking about a lot of great games that you can
as an entry-level thing, it's amazing. But yeah, to me, I mean, it means nothing to us, right? Because we've just been diligently...
We all have these, like, Last of Us Remastered came with the system, came with PS4 for a lot of people. Like, Uncharted 4 is like, you can get that for $5 probably, some places. Like, a lot of these games are really cheap. Or they're constantly on sales. I mean, even Persona 5, that's the original Persona 5.
Yeah.
Like,
I saw some people bitching about that it wasn't Royal. And I'm like, of course it's not Royal.
It just came out. Like,
Yeah, what's wrong with you? Like, of course, they're not going to like undercut themselves. Like,
and they're also doing this as a nice like, hey, we announced. I don't know. We still don't know if that's God of War 2 or if that's God of War like Miles Morales. But you get God of War, you get Last of Us. Last of Us 2 just came out. You get Resident Evil 7, 8's about to come out. So like it's a lot of these games that so you can get hyped for the next one and buy it on your PS5 as well. So it's smart marketing by Sony to be able to grab all these third parties and also put them in there as well. So, yeah, I just think that's good. It's a nice, like, kind of like, it's not Game Pass. It's not doing something with PS Plus, but it's a nice, like, here's a bunch of games that if you didn't have them before, you now can play them while you're waiting for other stuff to come out. So.
Yep.
And the last one. So what do you guys think of the God of War thing? Do you think it's a God of War 2 or do you think it's a God of War Ragnarok, like Miles Morales type thing where they just add more stuff? Or
I gotta be 2, because I mean they said God of War is not getting DLC for one, and also
but Miles Morales technically not. It's like DLC, but it's also its own game. So, like, I don't think a God of War 2 is coming in 2021. I do think that maybe a God of War, like, with, other story editions or whatever, or just its own, like, separate world from wherever it ended up on in the first game, maybe could.
So you're asking if it's going to be a big DLC or if it's going to be kind of like a $40 standalone?
Right, exactly. Because Miles Morales is $50, which is $20 less than what a Sony branded new game costs, which is the same as normally when you get like those standalone DLCs, they cost $40 because a normal game costs $60. So it's still that $20 difference, right? So that's what I'm asking. Is this a Miles Morales thing or is this a God of War 2 big $70 game, you think?
I think it's probably a remaster upscale with extra content with maybe another 10. And maybe it's like Devil May Cry or something where if you already own God of War, your base game gets upgraded and then you get the additional stuff separately, or you can buy them together.
But what could they add though? Like what?
Well, I mean,
I don't know. I haven't played God of War, so I have absolutely no idea what the DLC would be.
The Ragnarok part, at the end of God of War, like Thor shows up and is like ready to fight you.
Yeah.
So I imagine I think it'll be like that, like continuing from that story, or I think it'll be a new game. Also, like I don't think it'll be like DLC. Mm-hmm. I think they have more Norse mythology crap to mine.
Like, do you think will it be a standalone title, but a shorter standalone title at a reduced price, or will it really be a game the size of the previous one?
I think it'll be a game the size of the regular one, the original. I think what they could do is they could do the Spider-Man thing of porting over the first game with some enhancements, but it's not really like that game had a really good flow to it. And I think just shoehorning in content would actually kind of fuck it up. So
and plus, everybody who wanted to play that game has probably already played it at this point.
Yeah.
So it's not like Demon's Souls people have been clamoring for a next-gen remaster of that for years.
Well, that's an older game, and it also didn't run that well, at least initially, I don't think, right?
It always ran fine to me, but it's a PS3 game, so
yeah.
And it's a Souls game from that era. The frame rate's going to dip down to 20 or sub 20 sometimes. It's fine. Yeah. They're all perfectly playable. I
thought it was funny. The one trailer you forgot to mention was that Oddworld.
Oddworld, yeah, Soulstorm, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, holy shit. They've been working on that thing for like 5 years now, or at least 4.
I don't know. That's another game that looks like it could easily wind up on PS4 because a lot of that game didn't look very good.
Oh yeah, because originally it was a PS4 game, so.
Well, I know, but also, like, I know it looks like they're kind of, like, going, like, retro in certain parts, kind of like Mario Odyssey, where it looks like they go into, like, PS2 graphics for certain sections, and then they, like, go back to, as Randy messes me that he got the pre-order for the PlayStation 5. But, yeah, I don't know. It definitely looked like, I hope that game doesn't look like that the whole time. I definitely hope that they're trying to do some kind of like retro look to some of it, and then some of it doesn't look that way. But yeah, I completely forgot about the game getting or shown off there. Yeah,
and that Five Nights at Freddy's game, can't forget that.
Oh yeah, well that was like what 5 seconds.
Yeah,
was it Scream something?
Scream Factory or whatever.
Yeah, Scream.
Well, Scream Factory is a subset of Shout Factory.
Yeah.
It's the horror label version of Shout Factory. What are we talking about?
It's just a bad game franchise.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's it. I mean, it was only a 40-something minute show. It wasn't like an hour plus like the other one. It didn't really need to be, so like, what do you think? I feel like with that $400 price tag, that really, I think Microsoft knew anyway. I think Microsoft knew that Sony was gonna probably match them once they released that $300 console. It makes me also think that I wonder if Microsoft didn't plan for it to come out at all when it did, and they kind of just had to do it. They had to go out there and just promote
that was also something that somebody just tweeted, right? Like that, the graphic of
the video kind of leaked, and then they quickly had to go like 20 minutes later, go like, oh yeah, here it is.
Right, yeah, you had that video where it was doing the size comparison where the S melts into the X. That video came out kind of just like an hour or so before Microsoft was like, yep, here's the S.
No, well, they had to come out and officially say something because they had too much, like, well, it's definitely real. Like, this is definitely real. So Microsoft kind of had to just be like, well, we're going to announce it. I definitely think that Microsoft wanted to go second, but the way that Sony announced that, where there was really not much to that price thing, really makes you feel like Sony did not want to make that $399. They did it because they had to. I think there was always the idea of that being at least only a $50 difference.
To me, there's a big power difference between those two consoles, $400.
Oh, it's $200 the difference between the series. Yeah.
Well, so if you look at the $400 PlayStation versus the $300 Xbox, the $400 PlayStation is significantly nicer hardware-wise. So you'd be kind of crazy, I think, to go with the Xbox One, even though it's $100 cheaper. It's also, spec-wise, just way down there. Much worse.
Especially if you get a Call of Duty game, it's like, well, that eats up half the storage right there.
Yeah, and then we also still don't know, which I think Microsoft should have come out and said, like, to me, some of that messaging didn't make any sense, and I hate to, like, we're going off on a different thing, but like, and I think Sony should, in the coming days, right, like, in the coming days, I think both of them need to come up with what the price is going to be for the storage. Because if you're touting these digital systems, the number one thing that matters more than anything is storage, because you no longer have the disc that makes it to where you're not having to install the whole game, which Microsoft made you install the whole game anyway. But like, it's like, even though yes, I could still use my old external drives to store the game, but you can't run off those external drives. So the only thing you can add to this point, until third-party ones come out, which for Sony's thing, that's going to take longer because it's a very proprietary drive. And we don't even know how long it will for Microsoft because that's their thing. So,
well, like, Sony's also always said, like, both systems have a 1 terabyte drive. Yeah. But that, the Series S has 512 gigabytes. And that's actually like 490 usable. And that's assuming they don't put anything
450
on it.
Possibly even.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying though. Like, they should have come out pretty quickly and said, here's our storage drives that we know you're going to need for these digital consoles, and be like, this is what they cost. Now granted, I think I've seen those NVMEs like as low as like 150, like 125. So Microsoft could go as low as $100, which I think is not bad, but that means you're also basically paying the price of the PS5 digital to have, a 1 terabyte drive and the Series S. So, we'll see. I mean, obviously they have that all access thing, that helps them. We'll see how that works out. But I think for Sony, like, it was good for them to come out at this price point and be like, okay, here we are. You want to buy the digital console? Pay $100 more and you get like a full-fledged, this can do 4K everything, PS5. And if you need the disc, it's there for $100 more.
I'm super curious to see how the sales war shakes out between the S and the digital PS5.
Yeah.
Like that, to me, like those two companies went in very different directions with their low end. So
yeah, I think the digital is going to be really hard to find for a while.
I really wonder, man. I just don't know. I don't know about this S. I guess I don't understand other people and what they put value on.
Well, there's a lot of people that they did a study. I think that's only like 37% of households have 4K TVs right now.
Right. So the fact that like the S is sub 4K, like 1400 pixels or whatever, 1440.
But it upscales.
Right.
So.
I wonder if that S is going to become like a big seller for those kind of households, or if.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, right? Because like, if you don't have the 4K TV, but do you also have good internet because it's a digital console? So like, you're not going to have the discs. Like if you have bad internet, then you know.
Well, I don't have a 4K TV, and I'm still buying the disc PS4, PS5.
Well, that doesn't matter because the PS5 is the same.
But here's the issue: is I saw some people complaining about or thinking about buying the PS4 digital one. Like, you know, it's cheaper. It's like, yes, technically it's cheaper at start, but you know, PS5 games will get traded in and become used, and then as much as there are some like used, you know, or digital sales, like they're never going to get as cheap as used prices.
Yeah, you being a big fan of used buying in general, I can see how it would just not fit into your lifestyle at all.
Right.
Yeah, I hardly go to GameStop nowadays. I just rely on those digital sales.
Yeah, me too.
And Sony's like, if we were talking about Nintendo here, then I would definitely not go for anything that's all digital, even though I basically go all digital with the Switch because I don't want to carry those little VD carts around. But like, knowing that Sony's not like them, it doesn't impose a tax on every game that's put on their system. It doesn't overcharge, and they are really good about, even with their own games, they put them on sale really fast.
Even like launch Nintendo games, like, you know, Breath of the Wild, or I mean, Mario Odyssey is like a little later, but not that much later. They're, if not full price, at least $50 still, or like 40. I think it's like 45.
Well, they have that deal with Walmart, right? Where now the games are $50 or.
Right. But like, that's still not great. Like, if you really think about it.
Well, Nintendo games holding their value over time, I think is kind of a good thing for Nintendo in the sense that it's going to mean that you're incentivized to buy the game new, and then if you want to resell your game, it'll retain its value. So I think it's good for collecting or reselling also.
Right.
Except for the Nintendo Vault.
Yeah, well, the Nintendo Vault means that
I still
3D,
think that
3D
just
Worlds
means...
or whatever. What's it? 3D All Stars is just going to become. Yeah. It's just going to become a valuable thing.
I still think that means they're just going to throw them out piecemeal, and they're going to charge more for them piecemeal.
Well, 3D All Stars is already sold out, like every retailer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I had a friend because they did that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it would have sold out anyway, but like adding in that extra caveat of you better get it now because you may not be able to get it later, at least physical. Like, so yeah, Nintendo, that's weird. I just hope this doesn't become a thing for Nintendo further out. And also just, I don't know, seeing the fact that now they're apparently all emulated and there wasn't a lot of work done to them. I mean, they're $20 a piece, but.
You know, as someone else pointed out, like, what do you think most companies do? It's not like they rebuilt Mario 64 from the ground up. It's like, of course,
I know, but it's like, I don't know, Activision did a better job with Crash, Tony Hawk, and Spyro than.
Yeah,
Mario
they rebuilt those games. Those are whole new games.
Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like Nintendo could have done the same thing if they really wanted to, but they don't have to because they know people will go nuts buying those games. So.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, it's more that I'm going to buy most things digitally, but then there's going to be certain games where I'll want to get a special edition or something.
Right, exactly.
To put on the shelf. And for
but even the special editions, a lot of them now come digitally.
Do they? So you just get a box of stuff and
there's a digital deluxe edition, but it's not the same thing that you want, Jens.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, basically, we'll send you the soundtrack CD in the mail, but you get your game on it.
No, it's like, you get it's like on your, you just download it to your PS4. And
no, I was kidding. That is what I would want.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't give a shit about, we've enlarged, well, okay, so the digital download that basically just gets downloaded on your PS4, you can put a USB stick in your PS4 and get it off there. And then just put it into your music library.
Exactly.
But they are just MP3s. So I don't really care.
Flack or bust.
Exactly. Or anything lossless, really. I can convert it to what I need it to be. But, them being MP3s and usually kind of truncated albums. So I did grab that. I got, the Ghost of Tsushima came with a little digital album that I've been enjoying because that game has good music. But, the special edition, I think what we're talking, what Mark and I were talking about was there have been at some point, and I don't remember which ones they are, but there have been special editions that were basically just, here's a big box with your terrible polyresin statue, your soundtrack CD, your art book, your dumb little sticker or stick-on tattoo, but then there's no physical game. You just get a download code.
Yeah,
I think that Sonic game did that, didn't it? Because it came with the giant statue of Sonic on the Genesis.
Ubisoft just did that with to the Xbox version.
Yeah, the Watch Dogs Legion.
Yeah,
and like
the Watch Dogs Legion
2 did it.
Right. So all I was saying is that unless special editions become this, and I think Mark, you were saying the same thing, unless that's what special editions are going to be like, the digital edition of the console is a no-go for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I wouldn't be surprised if they do, as a way to perhaps make them a little bit cheaper. To like say, okay, here's another edition, but it's a digital code, so we're going to make it like $20-$30 cheaper or something like that.
Right.
So, and what do you guys think? We're getting into a new generation of gaming, and now games are going to be $10 more expensive.
Hey.
Are you okay with that?
If the game is worth it, sure. Like, to me, like, Spider-Man looked worth it. That's kind of about it for, like, the launch lineup, at least for me, personally.
I'm perfectly happy paying $70 for Demon's Souls.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, you'll buy that up in a second. And, Dark may eventually start porting over to the other ones as well. Like,
yeah, I mean, as long as Final
but,
Fantasy 16 isn't a turd, I would definitely pay $70 for that.
Yeah. And I think it'll still be kind of variable pricing. Like, I'm sure, like, if they make a new Crash Bandicoot for that thing, it won't be $70.
We need to be more selective anyway. Can't buy every piece of crap that comes out. We do it way too much.
I don't think, I personally don't think, like, Ratchet and Clank will be 70. I think that'll be, like, 50.
That one, though, I'd buy that. I'll buy that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll buy it 70 anyway. But.
Ratchet and Clank looks really good. I think it's the first game that I was like, oh, this looks like next gen.
Yeah.
It's not really an indictment of the game. It's more like, I think, like, Sony, because Sony had a few games that were, like, lower in price when they launched,
Yeah, Miles Morales will be 50,
Or, like, look at, like, Dreams when that came out. That was, like, 30.
Right, but I think that was
like
more
a
of
little toolbox game, right?
Exactly.
No, Dreams is, like, it's somewhat big. It's, like, we don't talk about it, but, like, that did, I think, pretty well for them.
No, it's a big game, but it's got, like, a, 2-hour story mode, and then the rest of it is you creating stuff?
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, it's not a game that you're putting, they put in a lot of more creative stuff in there for you to do what you want, but it's not necessarily, I think, them putting a lot of, I don't know, it's not Last of Us, the stuff they have to put in there, or Ghost of Tsushima, or whatever, so.
Right. But even like Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2, that launched at 40.
Yeah, well, because Activision is actually, for some reason, with their remasters, they're actually not, or remakes, they're actually not, like, crazy about, let's charge you a ton, so that's it. Also helps when you can make so much money off of Call of Duty and all these other things. You can charge people less money for. If only EA would take that idea sometimes. But yeah, I think with everything now, we got almost everything on the table. I think aside from needing to know how much storage is going to cost, we pretty much got everything to get hyped for 2 months. And what do y'all think? 2 days after Microsoft, Sony's already coming.
It's crazy.
Like,
so close together.
Like, they didn't even give each other a week. It's like 2 days. It's crazy. 2 days. So we're talking about Microsoft decided on the 10th was a Tuesday, and Sony decided on the 12th was a Thursday.
Maybe they figured that with the limited supply that's going to sell out anyway, it doesn't matter if they run right against each other.
Yeah, the reality is you're not going to be, it's going to be such a small amount. We're talking about like a handful of systems that are going to be available to the general public that you're going to be able to camp out outside for, that it's not going to be, anything crazy like it used to be. So, you'll still have the people that do it because they want to wait around and get the system that day, but it's already bought. Yeah. I don't know, any closing thoughts on this, the event, on anything you're
Very
excited
exciting
for in
event.
the last 2 months before we officially hit the last of this generation that we've been in?
I'm so excited to have a pre-order. I think Jens is also.
Yeah.
Yep, 13 Sentinels next week is what I'm most excited for in terms of current gen stuff.
Yeah, I'm
That's what you're
excited for that game too. It looks really good.
It's getting rave reviews from all the little RPG review sites.
Yep.
That's
That's where
matter.
you know it's going to be good.
Hmm
I might wait. I wish it was
I've
coming
seen
to PC.
I've seen several people on Twitter that I trust say it's one of their favorite games ever upon finishing it.
Yeah. I
So,
heard that, like, apparently
my
the
hopes are
strategy
high.
part is not, like, overly complicated, but the story and the characters are so good that it makes it worth it.
I've heard people say
Yeah.
the strategy is pretty good, but yeah, about 80% of the gameplay is visual novel / adventure game kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But, you know, I hear the tactical stuff is good,
I mean,
But
cancel Mark.
not
out
that
on
plentiful.
Yeah,
But that's
I mean,
fine.
yeah, and then Mark's going to be getting that 3D All-Stars, and
Yeah, I might try to hunt down a Walmart because it'll be cheaper
Oh.
there.
I have that ordered too. I've got that coming to me.
yeah.
I mean, hey, I don't
sorry.
mind. I don't mind paying $60 for two good games and one bad game.
You mean 3 good games?
No.
Did they? If you mean that, did they somehow slip in Galaxy 2?
I would love that. Oh my god!
I still think
my
that's
biggest
coming as a
complaint.
separate thing.
Like a downloadable add-on, or like
I
just
think
its
that
own
when
game,
they
or
take out
or-
the collection and make it separate, that it's going to be done as a separate thing. I just can't believe that Nintendo would just not port over 2. Like,
But that sounds like you don't think 2 is ever going to come to a cartridge.
no, I don't. Not that it won't come to cartridge, but it's like, maybe they will at some point, but
Just
it's
by
like,
itself.
I
Or
don't
like
think
in
it'll come-
another
no, I don't think it
collection?
would come by itself. I think if they're going to release it, it's going to be a DLC thing.
What would they? Oh, DLC. They couldn't just do a second collection and bundle it with
With what?
like the 3D world from the 3DS.
And
No,
Mario
that's
Time
already
Machine.
coming as a separate game.
Oh, okay.
That's
I was
that
not aware.
Bowser's
I mean,
Fury
I think-
thing.
I don't think it'll come to a cartridge. I think this will be like digital. Like, hey, buy it.
Yeah.
for
It's
$20.
digital only. That's what I'm.
I
that's
mean,
what I'm
like, the
asking, yes.
only other thing I could think of is that they're gonna do, like, Galaxy 2, Super Mario RPG, and name one other Mario game we're missing that, like, everybody loves. Like, you know.
Mario
like-
Time Machine.
yeah, or Mario RPG and
Mario's-
that, but, like,
Mario's
I can't
missing.
imagine. Yeah.
Mario Paint.
Eh. Isn't that Mario Maker, basically?
Mario Paint's actually fun now.
Yeah, I just, I don't know. Well, we'll see how that goes. I'm also excited for that. Well, not really. I mean, but it looks cool, that Mario Kart Tour thing.
Huh.
Or the home circuit.
Yeah, the remote control car thing.
Yeah. So, we'll see. I'm still waiting to hear from 2K on that 2K Battlegrounds thing. But, I'll let everybody know on Friday when we do the regular show. But, thank you everybody for joining us here. For us talking about the PS5. Hope everybody got their pre-orders in. And, you know, you can let us all know on Twitter at WTMSean, at W2 Network. That's the whole thing. At Humanity Play for Mark, at Aperture Silence for Jens. And we'll be back on Saturday, or, you know, Friday night, Saturday morning. And until then, hit subscribe on wherever you listen to us. When we have a show, it'll show up there and you can listen right there. If not, you can wait for YouTube and every other places that we're on. Check out that WTMnet.com, and until then, see you later, everybody.
Later.